Hey, it's Rob. Welcome to Wax Wednesday Stuff I Picked Up. When we met last time, I can't believe I forgot to pre-promote Record Store Day, which was this past weekend, of course. Now, Record Store Day, of course, I took part, and I have some things I picked up on that day, which we'll get to in a second. But first, a little tee up. Record Store Day is kind of like Christmas Day for the vinyl collector, so to speak. It's a day when not only record stores have a lot of cool stuff out on the rack that's kind of unique to the day, it's also a great chance to just catch up with other people who buy vinyl because there's, at the place I go to, there's always a lineup on Record Store Day, and you share that lineup with people who are just as passionate about records as you are. So it's fun. It's kind of communal. It's a good time. Anyway, it's best to always tackle Record Store Day with a plan. Maybe a plan B, and maybe a plan C, because some things are kind of limited, and not every record store gets every piece that they order. For that very reason, it's a supply and demand kind of thing. But you kind of hope for the best, and you get in there, and you kind of maybe get your mind set on a few things. Chances are, if you go in with that kind of attitude, you're going to find some. All right. For me, this time around, and here's where Record Store Day gets you. I'm a big Replacements fan. Everybody knows that about me. But there was the Tim double album. Two mixes of the album. It was on colored vinyl. That was one tempting thing for me. But I have both of those mixes of the album. I would be just buying them for the colored vinyl. I probably wouldn't even open it. Probably just put it on the shelf. So that's where Record Store Day can kind of get you. Kind of dangles the carrot on the string for the record collector, especially those that try to collect an artist. Another one would be, I had it in my hand. I looked at it, not seriously considered it, but went, maybe. The reissue of Metal Machine Music. Now, if you're familiar with Lou Reed's Metal Machine Music, you'll know that it is a double album of guitar noise and feedback. There's no song structure. There's no melody at all. It was a big middle finger to his record company and a way to kind of eat up some of his contractual obligations as far as numbers of albums that he was owed to the record label. And it's just kind of infamous that way. It has since been kind of given a second look, and some have been charitable enough to call it like a groundbreaking experimental noise record, which, maybe. I own a copy, and I've never been able to listen to more than 3 minutes of it, and I love Lou Reed. But there, and it's got a cool cover. It's got an embossed kind of silver cover. It looks awesome, but I mean, come on. Again, why would I spend that money on a record that I know I'm never going to listen to? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's find out what, Krista and I picked up. Because Krista, I think this is her first Record Store Day. I think this is the first time she braved the lineup and got up nice and early and stood there with me in the cold, that cold April spring morning. Anyway, we'll start with what she picked up. This is Spy Boy by Emmylou Harris. This is a live album, a 2 LP set. It came out in 1998 in CD. This is the first time it has appeared on vinyl. It's a really nice performance. It's great late night or early morning listening, and a fantastic scope of her career. Spy Boy is the name of the backing band and also the name of the double album that we're referring to here, which was a Record Store Day exclusive. As for Emmylou, for those that don't know, she's kind of an important figure in the early 70s as country was moving into a country rock kind of fusion. She was part of that, and she released her first albums solo in the midst of that. But she got her first big break as Graham Parsons' artistic foil and, just his muse, if you will. throughout some very productive years. Unfortunately, his final years, but she was his backup singer. But he gave her a much bigger piece of the spotlight than that. And no, they were not romantically involved, but definitely there was a certain form of love between the two of them. And anyway, that's where she kind of got her start. But since then, she's become one of the great respected elder statesmen of country music. And this is a great example of what she does so well. There's some great performances on here. So this is Spy Boy from Emmylou Harris, a Record Store Day exclusive. So, good way to start. That's Krista's pickup. Me, this actually was one of my plan Bs. Again, if I saw that replacements thing, I probably would have bought it. But you know what? They were sold before I got there. So that settles that. So I can look at something else that was kind of interesting me. And this caught my eye. Rolling Stones, Out of Our Heads. One of the great classic Rolling Stones albums from the first period of the Stones, the Brian Jones era. Brian right here. You know, the Stones have put out so many great albums over the years, so many classics. This might be considered the first of many great Stones albums. You know, they put out, 3 or 4 prior to this one, but this is the one there. Well, for starters, it has their first, North American #1 hit, I Can't Get No Satisfaction. It also has The Last Time, which is another Jagger Richards original. However, if you want to do a little homework on that, why don't you YouTube the Staple Singers and search the song "This May Be the Last Time," because man, oh man, it's definitely slower, but I don't know how they can say they didn't kind of lift that chorus and apply it to their own song. Shame, shame, shame. You be the judge. But anyway, this is a great album by the band. Still doing a great deal of covers at this point. But yeah, they're starting to strengthen that songwriting team of Jagger and Richards. This is a mono pressing. It's got a nice clear vinyl. This is a clear vinyl pressing. It's gorgeous. Very nice. As an album, it was recorded in 3 places. That would be Chicago, London, and Hollywood. And that's illustrated here by the juicy liner notes by Andrew Loog Oldham, who is the original manager and hype man for the Rolling Stones. He was kind of influential in the early part of their career. Remember, nobody was touching the Beatles. You might as well not compete with the Beatles at this point. So what you do is you kind of position yourself as maybe the opposite of the Beatles, like where the Beatles were kind of lovable mop tops. These guys were kind of seen as a little more dangerous. And Andrew Loog Oldham was great at establishing that kind of mystique around them and air. And ironically, Andrew Loog Oldham got his start in the record business working in Brian Epstein's office and witnessing his work with the Beatles early on and the differences he changed them in smoothing out their image. So anyway, getting sidetracked here. This is a pretty solid 60s. 1965 was the original release date. Again. Probably their first of many great albums, when you're starting to look at the establishing of Jagger Richards as a songwriting team. So anyway, there we go. And last but not least, I was pretty pumped to get this one. And this is one that I did have my heart set on. And thankfully, man, on Record Store Day, I saw a couple of these leave the store, and I was starting to get nervous. Oh, man. But then I was told that there was at least one in there by the time that I got there, so I grabbed it ASAP. That's Hindu Love Gods. If you're not familiar with who they are, well, this is just a one-off project. It's Warren Zevon and REM, minus Mike Stipe, who's REM's lead singer. So basically Warren Zevon with REM as his backing band. When Warren kind of got his songwriting career back on track with the album Sentimental Hygiene in 1986, it was REM that was his backing band on that project. And from those sessions, they just kind of rolled tape on some covers and released it a few years later under the name Hindu Love Gods. This would have come out on vinyl in 1991 when it was released, but boy, they would be pricey now. They would be very, very collectible. So this is when Record Store Day is really doing something, kind of valuable to the collector, because often you kind of look at some of the things they put out and you go, geez, do I really need that? Sometimes they're live performances that are kind of questionable, but not this, man. This I knew what I was getting. I listened to the CD a lot when this came out. This is all covers, probably 80% of them are blues, like Muddy Waters and Willie Dixon. But man, it's played with a lot of spirit and volume, and maybe some drinks as well. But it sounds like they had a great time making this, and it's loose and loud and everything great rock and roll should be. And they even managed to throw in a couple of kind of cool covers here. Actually, the first single off this was Rip Through Prince's Raspberry Beret, but they also do a pretty good version of the Georgia Satellites Battleship Chains on here as well. But man, you could tell it was very, very loud in the studio when they recorded this. It just sounds awesome. And this is one that I was really, really hoping I would grab this Record Store Day. So Hindu Love Gods and their one and only studio release, never to be repeated again. This was lightning in the bottle, the only got once. So anyway, that's it for this week. Hope you had a great Record Store Day. And thanks for tuning in, Wax Wednesday. And remember, home is where your vinyls are. Did I say vinyls? Oh, slap my... Home is where your vinyl is. So when you get home tonight, throw one on. There's no plural for vinyls. It's vinyl, vinyl, vinyl. Singular or plural, it's vinyl. Wax Wednesday, celebrating vinyl. Stuff I picked up. And we'll see you in 7. Take care.